Well, welcome back, everybody. This is WLPN, LP Lumpin Radio in Chicago, hitting left with the Klonsky brothers. And we're here with Krista Franklin, a poet, a artist, and I don't know. I mean, how long did the list go? Tell us, how long does the list go? We know you're a poet
You know what?
and a visual artist.
I like to call myself a writer and an artist. You know, mostly I write poetry, but I do kind of branch off into some experimental stuff. And I also really don't necessarily believe in genre anymore. So even though some things may take the form of poetry, I'm not 100% sure that they are anymore.
Like, give us an example, Krista. For, I was trying to look at your, the way you describe yourself, Afrofuturist, Afro-surrealist. So there's a lot of ists there that I don't really understand what they are. Maybe you could tell me. So what if you don't believe in that genre applies? Yeah. So how do you identify?
I identify mostly as human and mostly as Black and mostly as woman, and everything else is kind of what I like to say a byproduct of my output, a byproduct of those overall experiences. So when I talk about like Afrofuturism specifically, I'll talk about that for a second. Afrofuturism has been around for a really long while. The term itself was coined in the 90s by a writer named Mark Derry, who is a British writer, actually. And he was trying to identify or kind of articulate a framework for what he was visually, I'm sorry, let me backtrack that. He was trying to articulate what he was finding in science fiction writing. This new kind of form of science fiction writing where Black writers in particular were taking on science fiction themes and really exploding them. So this is the idea, the main idea to me, the underlying ideas are, for me, Black people as alien, right? Marginalized people as alien, as other, what those experiences bring, right? Also the intersections of Blackness and technology, Black experience and technology. So he was really talking about cyberpunk, specifically. He was looking at writers who were exploding these ideas of marginalization, a lot of the things that we're going through right now too.
So I'm thinking
unrest. Go ahead.
Black Panther comes to mind.
Black Panther is a great example. It's probably one of the most cohesive contemporary examples, but there are many others. Parliament Funkadelic.
Of course, yeah.
LaBelle. There's visual artists who.
How do you know those people? That's before your time.
No, it's not. I'm older than you think. I'm actually 2,000 years old.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm actually 2,000 years old. No, I'm actually a child of the 70s. I was born in 1970. A lot of people think I'm younger than I am. So I grew up in the funk era.
This thing about that you bring up about this kind of division and this, in some ways, unnatural division of genres. And I'm thinking back to the play August Wilson did, The Gem of the Ocean, I believe, when I saw it at the Goodman, and where the key character is a 300-year-old grandmother, right? And is that some kind of surrealism or Afrofuturism, or is it a play about the Black experience?
I think that these questions, to me, I'm more interested in the question of that than I am in the answering of it, right? Because yes, that does deal with time, right? With time travel, with an understanding of time, or a kind of disruption or expanded understanding of time. Who's 3,000 years old, 300 years old? Who, that we know. So, when we talk about the speculative and we talk about the imaginary as a site to really examine just things that we go through in our daily lives, but that seem, for me, with surrealism, that seem absurd, very, very ordinary things that are very absurd to me. Walking out in the street, right now, and I can't breathe the air, I feel like I'm gonna get sick if I breathe, You know, the absurdity of that is just so wild to me. Although that's a real experience for people. It's real for us, and it's been real for many others across the globe for a long time.
Avery R. Young on the other day, and I asked him the same question I want to ask you, which is how does an artist of color think about this current situation with the virus, and do you think that that you come at it from a different place than say the white artist does, or the white poet does, or the person on the street, and how?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I mean, I certainly think that I have been equipped with a few survival skills by nature of the fact that I have been an artist working in a city, in a major city, for about 20 years now. And I've had to learn a lot of survival strategies as a result. Financially, emotionally, you know, my engagements with institutions and going in and out of institutions, and what do I truly feel about the idea of structures, institutions, systems, you know, as someone who's inside and outside of those systems. You know, I definitely think that I have a little bit more of a resilience. And I think a lot of writers who may be writers of color or artists of color have had to, you know, develop these skills. And many of us learn them from our parents, you know, especially if we come from working class families or, you know, in poverty-stricken conditions.
Tell us about your parents. How did you come up? Where did you come up in Chicago, right?
I came up in Ohio.
Oh, in Ohio, that's right. And you,
yeah,
and you went to Penn State.
Yeah. I'm an Ohioan through and through. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, in a little suburb called Trotwood.
What's LeBron James really like?
I don't know. He's from a whole nother part of town. He's actually from Akron, I think. I think LeBron lived in Akron or Cleveland. That's northern Ohio. Dayton is in southern Ohio. They're about 4 hours away from each other. 4 or 5 hours away.
Okay.
I would have never come in contact with LeBron James for a number of reasons. One being that he's younger than me. Second being that I've never been interested in sports. So I would have never encountered him at all, even if we were in the same area. But no, I don't know. My mother loved.
So when did you come to Chicago?
I moved to Chicago in 2001.
Okay, well, you're a Chicagoan then.
Yeah, now I am, for sure.
Almost got 20 years in.
Almost 20 years.
And how did you?
How does that influence your work? How does the city influence your work?
Oh God, I mean, this city made me. This city is a city that made me. It made the artist that I am. I was an artist and a writer before I came here, but Chicago truly embraced me. The artistic and writerly community of Chicago took me under their wing almost as soon as I stepped foot in this city. And I was really lucky in that capacity. Kevin Coble was one of the first people that I met when I moved here. And I met him through another friend, Tahimba Jess. And it was from there just a roller coaster ride. Chicago taught me how to think of myself as an artist, how to identify myself as such, and how to survive. The labor of it. You know, I learned a lot about labor and work ethic here in Chicago. I also learned a lot about community and how we can survive only if we have each other. You know, that's the only way that we're gonna make it, is if we work as a unit, work as a network of people who, and not in a political or, you know, I'm trying to capitalize on this connection kind of way. You know what I mean? But a network of like, do you need some groceries? Are you struggling right now?
That's a big question right now.
There's an opportunity that I just heard about. Let me share with you. I have a class that I'm teaching, you know, that I think that your work is really good in. Can I talk to you about that? I mean, you know, these were real things that happened to me. You know, I have a gig for you over here. Do you think that you're interested in teaching at this school with these particular young people? So, you know, Chicago taught me about community, taught me about work ethic, and also about love. Deep and profound love, you know?
And who were, aside from the people you mentioned, who've been some of the people who most influenced your work? I know you don't like the, you know, the inspiration word, but you must have been you must have been inspired by some others.
Yeah, I joke around a lot, and I also use a lot of hyperbole, and I exaggerate a lot because I'm entertained by it. So I do believe in inspiration, but I don't think that people should rely upon it, right? So I'll say that. Oh, so many people have inspired me, dead and alive, you know. I will say that my primary and early inspirations were my family, my parents, as just working people who really cared about the people that they worked with. Both of them are, working in social justice and social worker and, working city jobs, state jobs, working with the people civically, for years. So I think that they were my early inspirations. Langston Hughes was probably one of my first poetic. Chuck D from Public Enemy, one of my first poetic inspirations. People that are here that are inspirations to me, any single person who is right now working with the communities that are deeply, deeply and profoundly being impacted by the injustices of the world as they continue to roll on. Those
now,
are
the people you mentioned, the people you mentioned, they're radical people. Do you consider yourself a political radical?
I consider myself to be a rebel without a pause. That makes me radical, I guess.
But are you?
I don't
what do you
like
think
system.
about? What do you think about current politics? Trump and
Yeah.
Democratic Party stuff.
Yeah, I don't believe in that person. I don't believe in that person. I believe that people are the ones who make differences in people's lives and not systems. I think that's ultimately what I believe.
Now,
governmental systems are a little bit distressing for me because so often I think that people are into government systems because they want someone to save them or rescue them, or they also want to hold positions of power to make influence happen. But what kind of influence? I'm always a little suspicious, and I always have been, of the government. And I think that really started for me probably in college, really deeply. But I was always suspicious of authority in general, and people who use platforms to manipulate others, for good or bad. I grew
what
up
about social movements, Krista?
Oh, I believe in social movements. Now, we can't, I believe in all of that, right? We have to have the social movements, and we really do have to have the government, but I just don't necessarily, sometimes I'm worried and I wonder about how effective they are in making really radical change in people's lives on a day-to-day basis.
Now, we've elected the first African American woman, gay, mayor in Chicago, an Ohioan also, by the way.
Did not know that Lori was an Ohioan.
Oh yeah.
Did not know this.
Yeah, an Ohioan like you. And I'm reading today in today's paper that she and Pritzker have joined to create an emergency fund for the arts and artists in Illinois. Have you heard about that?
I did hear about it. First thing, I think I knew about it yesterday though. Because things come to me a little sooner sometimes than they do other people. But yeah, I knew about it. How do you
think she's doing? How do you think she's doing so far? In terms of...
I think it's still too soon to tell. I think it's still too soon to tell. We're gonna give it a year, give it a year or two. I think she's getting her. I think she's sinking her feet in the ground. I think she's
tomorrow marks year one.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah. So I mean, I think so far.
You're not ready to give her a grade yet.
I'm not yet. I'm really not yet.
I have to say, I've been somewhat impressed that over the last 48 hours, how the mayor has become a visual icon of staying apart. It's all over social media. Mm-hmm. People on their own taking her image and reproducing it in different locations to encourage people to stay at home. And I think that's kind of remarkable. And
it's hilarious.
She's at least everything I've read is that she's totally for it. But it's an interesting thing where she's become this kind of this visual marker for for
yeah, I think when you're in positions
AF.
of power, when you're in positions of power and influence, when you kind of that celebrity status, you're going to be kind of made into a brunt of a joke at some point. I think what I have enjoyed is that she's been so gracious about it.
Yes.
And very fun. Like she's embraced it as, you know, this kind of funny moment that we're going through. She's not taking it personally. She's not getting her feathers ruffled about it, and really participating too in some ways. So I think that that's really good. You know, yeah. So we'll see. You know, I have a lot of concerns. I love that she is Black, of course, that she is queer. I mean, these are all, you know, remarkable, wonderful things to have people who we consider to be marginalized people to be in office. So I just want to see. Sometimes our race and our creed and our religions, they don't necessarily indicate what our belief systems are. You know, there's an old adage that, you know, every folk ain't every skin folk, it's not just kinfolk. Every skin folk's not your kinfolk, you know?
Yeah.
So just because somebody looks like you.
So what
doesn't necessarily mean that they're for you.
What have you been working on lately? What's your latest project?
My latest project.
And will you read something for us?
Yeah, I'll definitely read something for you. My latest project is to try to stay well. That's my latest project.
That's a worthwhile project. How's it going? Are you okay?
Yeah, I feel good.
You feeling good?
I feel really good right now. You know, I feel very grateful, mostly, and lucky.
So will you share something with us?
Sure. I will read something from the new book, which will be out next week.
Hold it up here so we can see the cover. Everybody can see the cover.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So there is a latest project besides surviving. You've been at work.
I have been. I've been working. I'm always working off and on, but I try not to make that the centerpiece of my life. You know, I try to make just living the centerpiece of my life, and loving the centerpiece of my life, and all the artwork and stuff, and all the poems are just byproducts. But I'm grateful to have this new project out. I'm very grateful for Haymarket Books. Very grateful for Breakbeat Poet Series. For taking, believing in my work enough, you know, both visual work, because my visual work is in this book as well. It's being heralded as a collection of poetry, and it is that, but it's also many other things too. And so you're getting almost 20 years of my work, visually as well as written in this book. So I will read something for you all, an older piece. Saturday Nights at the Buggy in 1986.
Cool.
Plastic cups watch from the divide between pool room and dance floor, their golden insides pulling stingy light down from the ceiling. Drunk men, eyes hard as wood floors, watch. Some lean their bodies across pool tables, one pale arm stretches down the length of stick. There is no space on the small dance floor. The smattering of brown bodies here squeeze into any open space they will. The bar air swells with sweat and sound. My mouth fills with my phone number. The DJ spins almost every word we know. Rat, AC/DC, Def Leppard. Electric guitars climb out of speakers and slither into our hips. We are 4 Black virgins perspiring in the heat of Roadhouse. My voice is caught in the grooves of night. Like big cats in a forest of antelope, the few Black boys here circle white girls who sprout from these back roads, smell of hairspray and floral alcohol of drugstore perfume. I am here for anyone and no one. Sit in a dark corner with my legs stretched on another, drink water and watch the ritual of torsos pressing against one another. The mysterious conversations falling into caverns of ears. Here, can I curse in here?
No. You can do it on this, but
I couldn't give a less face.
There you go.
Glare at the ones who stare too long. Inside, I am howling wolf.
Hey, Excellent. Very nice, Krista. Thank you so much. The reason I said you couldn't swear, you could swear to us, but on community radio, they'll just bleep you out.
I get it.
It's a $30,000 fine for.
I don't know how did it happen. Yeah, listen.
We'll send you the bill.
I don't want the bill. I can't afford it. Thanks.
Krista Franklin, it's been a joy having you.
Hey, it's been a pleasure talking to you gentlemen too. I want you guys to stay safe, please.
Yes, you too.
Surrounded by your loved ones, you know, nearby, near and far, you know, supporting each other in this crisis. So. And
where will we be able to get your book?
You can purchase the book. Now you can purchase it on pre-order online. You just go right to Amazon, put in the title "Too Much Midnight," put my name in there, Krista Franklin.
I'm on it right now. I'm on it right now.
Pop right up, and you can order it right now. They're going to send it to you. You know, if Amazon doesn't shut down because they don't know how to pay workers right. Listen.
All right.
Well, stay well, and we'll see you in person one of these days.
See you very soon, gentlemen. Have a great day.
Okay, you too, Krista. Bye-bye.